Welcome to VSB News Online for Wednesday, August the 26th. I'm Charles Webb. The attack by the People's Campaign and its members on E.T. Bob Richards and his government colleagues over the free speech issue has taken an unexpected turn. Brian Darby has the details.
A lawyer representing Jason Hayward, president of the BPSU and a member of the People's Campaign, has contacted Burn News Online's news service to complain about the comments that it's been publishing in connection with the People's Campaign's free speech attack on the government. This arose after Finance Minister Bob Richards revealed that he was suing Mr. Hayward for allegedly defaming him on a television talk show on ZBM on May the 10th. The management at Burn News placed the following announcement at the bottom of the last story on the subject that read, "Comments are closed as the latest entity to receive legal correspondence in relation to this matter is Burn News, who has been contacted by a lawyer representing Mr. Jason Hayward. This has caused such a row behind the scenes that it would appear that the comments have been allowed once again." Brian Darby reporting for VSB News.
Premier Michael Dunkley met with the new British Foreign Secretary Philip Hammond today for a frank exchange of views. They included Bermuda's economy, the financial services sector, the potential of the America's Cup, and the government's efforts to create job opportunities for Bermudians. The two men also discussed the upcoming Overseas Territories Joint Ministerial Council meeting in November. Later in the day, Premier Dunkley was interviewed by the BBC Radio 4, BBC Business Live, and CNBC UK, Closing Bell. In each case, Bermuda's reputation in the financial services and its tax regime were the subject of many questions. Two progressive Labour Party shadow ministers today expressed with what they termed great alarm at the way government is ignoring 75% of the voters who disapproved of the direction it has taken to build a new airport. Shadow Finance Minister David Burke and Shadow Transport Minister Lawrence Scott, during a lengthy press conference, recommended that government create an airport authority to take control of the process.
When it comes to the airport authority, and the minister saying that the CCC is the only way to go, in 2011, the Bahamas government decided to create an airport authority. In 2007, the Jamaican government created an airport authority and has an ongoing restoration project in midst right now. And recently, as a few days ago, the Antigua and Barbuda government has created an airport authority, and all three governments have built an airport using a variation of the airport authority model. So this begs to differ, and this begs to differ with what the minister is saying, and leaves us with the all-important question. If this is a bad deal for Bermuda and a bad deal for Bermudians, then who does this really benefit? The Minister of Transport says that our current airport levels leave a bad impression on those visitors coming to and leaving the island. But yet, there is no exit survey that I am aware of that suggests that any visitor will not return to this country as a result of their experience in our airport.
Mr. Burt offered a list of questions he felt the media should ask the finance minister.
Question number 1. How much money has the OBA committed to giving ACON in this latest agreement? We understand that this deal contains penalty clauses, and the taxpayer deserves to know how much money they are spending, as we understand that figure is significant. Question number 2. Logic would dictate that we should examine the alternatives before entering into a contract with ACON. Therefore, why has the One Bermuda Alliance committed Bermuda to spending money with ACON before examining the alternatives, as have been recommended in the Deloitte reports? The third question. When does the OBA government intend on fulfilling the terms of the letter of entrustment that they agreed to, as that letter requires the OBA to, and I quote, publish a written and evidence-based assurance that the required measures have been taken, end quote. And question number 4, did the One Bermuda Alliance receive permission from the Accountant General to sign this second agreement with CCC and ACON? The first permission that they received contained specific conditions. Were these conditions met in order to warrant a second permission? As it currently stands, This deal is a bad deal for Bermuda. The Progressive Labor Party will do its job to hold the government to account. The people of this country cannot allow the One Bermuda Alliance to privatize our airport for 35 years and ship hundreds of millions of dollars of profits to Canada. There is an alternative, there is another way, and we will continue to educate Bermudians on how Bermuda can do better.
First, it was a 3.7% first quarter rise in our gross domestic product. Then it was a downturn in the unemployment rate from 9 to 7%. And now the island's shopkeepers are reporting their 11th successive month of increased sales. For details of this latest indication of an improving economy, here's Brian Darby with the retail sales report for June.
Yes, the month of June has provided some dramatic evidence that Bermuda's economy is turning the corner by producing retail sales 7.1% higher than during the same month of 2014. It was the 11th month in a row that retail sales have increased and beat out the previous record increase of 6.9% achieved in December. All retail sectors recorded growth in sales to a total value of $94.7 million, with sales of motor vehicles registering the highest increase of 36.7%. Returning residents declared purchases valued at $4.3 million, the same as the previous June, and construction supplies demonstrated a 12.6% improvement for the sixth consecutive monthly increase. Brian Darby reporting for VSB News.
Small businesses struggling for credit got a leg up today when the Bermuda Economic Development Corporation partnered with Her Majesty's Customs to allocate $200,000 in the funds annually to be used to facilitate lines of credit up to a maximum of $10,000 to assist in importing goods for retail sale on the island. The pilot program will be assessed after 1 year. In announcing the initiative, Home Affairs Minister Senator Michael Fay, flanked by Acting Premier E.T. Bob Richards, BEDC and HM Customs representatives, made it clear that this is a big deal that will benefit small businesses and ultimately the consumer.
This initiative was developed in response to an identified gap in the lending market. Results from the BEDC's biannual stakeholder survey showed that small businesses were in need of lines of credit to facilitate importation of retail goods. However, financial institutions were requiring letters of credit to be secured by cash, which is prohibitive to most small businesses. Furthermore, HM Customs has had a product available since 2009, which allowed retailers to defer part of their customs duty payments for up to 3 months, with the anticipation that a significant portion of merchandise would be sold within that time frame. However, very few businesses took advantage of the product due to the lines of credit requirements. This letter of credit product is designed to assist startup and existing small businesses with inventory purchases directly related to increasing sales or services. Approved retailers are not required to provide monetary security to HM Customs for any duty deferred. An approved retailer is simply required to furnish Customs with a letter of credit from a bank or other financial institution in Bermuda, guaranteeing payment of a specified amount of duty that may be deferred by that retailer under the approval given by the collector. HM Customs is willing to accept a guarantee letter from BEDC to secure the line of credit. I am pleased to announce that this initiative will come into effect as of 1st of September of this year.
And we'll be back with more news right after this.
Mix 106 FM is proud to bring you live coverage of the third and final round of the Eastern County Cup competition between Cup holders Cleveland County and challengers St. David's Cricket Club on Saturday, August 29th. The game starts at 10 a.m. from Lord's in St. David's. Join the Voice of Summer team led by Sean Tucker as they bring you play-by-play coverage on VSP Mix 106 FM. We would like to thank our sponsors, Lindo's Group of Companies, Goslin's, TBI, BAC, Island Construction, and BF&M. We'll see you there.
A slate of maintenance and capital projects will be completed this Friday to ensure that schools are ready to receive students on Tuesday, September the 8th. This from Education Minister Wayne Scott and Public Works Minister Craig Cannonier, whose ministers were engaged in a collaborative effort involving 7 work units with over 100 staff of electricians, plumbers, carpenters, masons, and painters to ensure schools resume without undue disruption.
The purpose of the annual program is to carry out repairs that will ensure a safe and healthy environment for our students, principals, teaching and administrative staff. This summer, the facilities management team in the Department of Education will complete a total of 38 maintenance projects to improve our school buildings. Following a successful bidding process, work contracts were awarded to a number of local contractors to execute on the repair and maintenance projects slated for the summer. The Victor Scott Primary School was one of the major school improvement projects that is now in the final phase of completion. The lower restrooms were renovated for our children, an electrical service upgrade was implemented at the school, and the lower level hallway was furnished with new tiling.
We commenced this work back in April of this year to ensure that we got a head start with making sure that things got done. 130 members of our team got together, the technicians, the electricians, the carpenters, and the likes, to ensure that we started this work early. Under normal circumstances from year to year, we normally just take on 4 schools per year to get this work going. This year we decided to take on a bigger chunk of that work, and we took on 11 to 12 of our schools to ensure that not only was it painted, the bathrooms were looked at, the plumbing was looked at. In addition to that, the floors for the gyms were refurbished. And I'm excited about the fact that we are now at this point that we can say we are ready to open our schools.
As far as the top weather forecasters are concerned, Tropical Storm Erica could do one of the 3 things over the coming weekend. 1, it could fizzle out and die in the face of hostile conditions as it approaches the Bahamas. Secondly, it could stay alive and hit the Florida Peninsula as a Category 1 hurricane and dissipate quickly. And thirdly, it could strengthen to a hurricane status and allow itself to be turned by a trough onto a northerly course just short of the U.S. mainland. And that is the course that just might, give the Bermuda cause for concern. In any event, Erica is expected to be 765 miles to our southwest on Friday evening, with winds approaching hurricane force, and by then, things should be a lot clearer. Within the next week, the Bermuda Economic Development Corporation will have taken over the management of the island's peddlers and vendors from the Magistrates Court for the first time since 1894. BEDC Director Erica Smith is at pains to stress that this will not mean more red tape and regulation, but in fact should cause a revolution in the affairs of small business people.
Ultimately, I think it professionalizes the profession of vending and peddling. It removes the responsibility and oversight from the Magistrates Court, and it brings it into Bermuda Economic Development Corporation, which is fitting because our focus is about growing Bermudians in the entrepreneurship field, growing small local businesses, and what better way to do that than starting as a vendor and a peddler. Most of the act will remain the same, although there will be some changes to the process, but there will also be some changes to the benefits awarded to vendors that register with BEDC.
Now, what's been the reaction so far? Because I know you've had some good luck.
Sure. I mean, well, we've actually grown the vendor industry quite significantly with regard to the number of peddlers or vendors who have registered voluntarily with BEDC. We've grown the vendor market scene, so we now manage or help to partner with 4 vendor market sites, the Rubber Tree in Warwick, the Old Town Market in St. George's, the Hidden Treasures Market in Somerset, and the newest one is the Uptown Market on Court Street. And so we're very excited about people growing business ideas from a very small concept. And some of our vendors have transitioned right into shopfront locations and have become very, very successful at that. Yes.
So 200 is not a bad base to start with?
I mean, from a voluntary point of view, you know, just signing up to just be involved without really having a requirement to be one, we think that we've actually hit our targets. And so we don't really know how many vendors or peddlers there are out there. It's difficult to get a real fine number from the process through magistrates court, and so part of the transition to BEDC is to have a real modernized system for giving vending licenses, tracking vendors, and then helping with the renewal process, but then also giving them access to such benefits such as the Deposit Insurance Act when it comes online. We have some financing products specifically created for vendors. I think that's quite revolutionary to really have a loan, a guaranteed loan product for vendors. And even this morning we announced an initiative around deferment of customs duty and providing a credit line for vendors who import items and require a time base to pay that off. So we're doing a lot of revolutionary stuff, I hope. And ultimately it's with the goal of growing our local small business sector.
The first of 3 free info sessions will be held tomorrow evening at the Anglican Cathedral on Church Street at 6 p.m. to explain the new Vendors Act and the benefits the BEDC will bring to the table. And now we turn to Earl Bazin with the latest from the sports desk.
August 25th was not a good day for Bermuda in the world of sports. This after Tyrone Smith and Trey Houston bowed out of the World Track and Field Championships in China in the morning, while in the afternoon, Benjamin Jones and Cairo Morton continued representing Bermuda at the 2015 ITF GSDF Caribbean 12 and Under Cotex Team Championships in Curacao, along with coach Javon Witter. Bermuda went down 2-1 to Jamaica in their third match of the tournament, finishing second in the group and qualifying for the main draw. The opening singles match, Jones went down to John Chin in a 3-setter, 2-4, 4-1, 10-4, while Morton went down in straight sets, 5-3, 4-1 to Delano Rivas. In the doubles, Bermuda was able to record a win when Morton and Jones defeated Rivas and Chin 5-4, 4-1. Dale Eve and his Stoke City teammates' unbeaten start to the season in the Barclays Under-21 Premier League came to an end with a defeat at Swansea. Eve and his teammates traveled to South Wales looking to build on a goalless draw against Aston Villa and a 1-0 win over Wolves, but they went down 2-0 to the Welsh team. This coming Saturday will be the final county game of the year. We wanted to get an idea on how one evaluates the counties. Jason Ford, who is a Mix 106 FM cricket commentator, along with Sean Tucker and Lorenzo Tucker, that make up the Voice of Summer team, offers this opinion.
The 110-year year of Eastern County.
Right.
Obviously, that's the premier county we have here on the island.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great county as far as the spectators' participation all around. When you look at the teams, and when you look at counties, especially probably over the last 30 years, it's all based on the teams that are in those counties. You see in local cricket, these teams have a little trend. They might be up on a high, and then they go down to the lows and transition, and that's what keeps the county going. Right. If those teams stay strong. Right. Obviously, right now, the majority of the stronger teams that are playing in their Eastern County. Right. So that's why you'll see the lack of talent at Central. And glad they've come back on, adding some more teams, and hopefully next year Social Club will join that to build that back up.
Darray Rollins suited up for the London and East Region Under-17s against the Under-17 North Region at the National Cricket Performance over in the UK yesterday. The London and East Region is selected from players from Sussex, Surrey, Middlesex, Kent, and Essex County. Rollins had an excellent bowling performance of 10 overs, 1 maiden, 1 for 28. Unfortunately, London East could not complete their innings. The game finished as a no result, with Rollins not having the opportunity to bat. Softleg Team Japan skipper Dean Barker says while the racing in Portsmouth was a good first step, His team is looking to up its game in order to be in the mix with the leaders at the Louis Vuitton America's Cup World Series in Gothenburg this weekend. Barker is quoted as saying, "The training had gone pretty well leading into the event, but we made too many mistakes in the races. It was to be expected given our limited time sailing, but you want to be racing at the front end," end quote. Sailing team manager and wing trimmer Chris Draper agreed, saying there was a big difference between the training sessions and the two races. A total of 93 runs crossed the plate in the latest round of the Bermuda Commercial Summer League softball season, currently going on at the Michael Priest Softball Diamond. Fox It Up defeated Atlantic 23-8 in the evening's opener, followed by PWC recording a 20-17 win over Emlyn, and Team Smoky defeated Corporation of Hamilton 20-5. The Bermuda Equestrian Federation, which was formed back in 1976 to enable local riders to compete for their country internationally, today has a new committee. The board of directors for the 2015-16 season include Ian Truan as the president, while Makisha Smith is elected as the vice president. Michelle Ingham was elected as the treasurer, with Leela Medeiros named as the secretary general, and Elka Gibbs voted as the correspondent secretary. Marshalita Tuda heads up the fundraising committee, with Makisha Smith also leading the development committee. Medeiros is responsible for governance, while Michelle Ingham is in charge of the finance committee. And Jamie Masters McDowell heads up the international committee. Ross Smith and Lindsay Souza are the committee members without portfolios. Digicel and the National Basketball Association, the NBA, announced the launch of the Digicel NBA Jumpstart Basketball Clinics in the Caribbean, which will take place in Antigua, Barbados, Bermuda, British Virgin Islands, Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, Turks and Caicos, between August 24th and 28th. The clinics, which will be run by the NBA International Basketball Operations staff and focus on player development, will bring together hundreds of players and coaches from across the Caribbean. The Digicel NBA Jumpstart Basketball Clinic scheduled for Bermuda League will be September 9th through to the 11th. I'm Earl Baston reporting for VSB Sports.
Looking at the weather for Thursday, August the 27th, there will be a mix of sun and clouds with a couple of showers. Winds will be west, southwesterly, light to moderate. We're expecting a high near 86 and a low near 78. This weather forecast is courtesy of the Bermuda Weather Service. Thank you for watching VSB News Online for Wednesday, August the 26th. I'm Charles Webb.